Once upon a time, a fourth grader with wild brunette curls and Philadelphia Eagle sweatpants leaned over to his classmate and whispered, "What did you get on your test?" It might seem like a kind, compassionate question for a fourth grader to ask, but this time it was not. Because the kid with the curls was fishing. He was really hoping his friend would return the question, What did you get on your test? Because the fourth grader did great on the test. And he didn't want to keep that news to himself. He wanted to boast about it. He wanted the whole class to know about it. And I shouldn't have started that story with once upon a time, because that's my story. I have been a competitive kid since I came out of the womb. I cannot remember a time in my life when I didn't care about how my life and my performance compared to other people. I remember in third grade, actually, I got my first ever A- in school. And you know what I did? I somehow dragged my mother to my third grade teacher to try to convince her to drop the minus so I could hold on to just the A. I remember in fourth grade not just comparing test scores, but comparing with my friends who had scored the most individual points on our dinky grade school basketball team. In fifth grade, I got into a huge argument with my teacher about the number of reading points I had. I was trying to convince her that cartoons and comic books counted because they were words on a page just like any classic novel. In sixth grade, I took the ACT. Twice. Some people would go out and smoke during the breaks. I could barely reach the water fountain because I wanted to do the best. When I got to high school, I wanted to be the best. I have always been a competitive Christian, and that's true even today. I'm a grown middle-aged man, but do you know what I did when my family recently came home from a road trip vacation? I asked my wife, "Do you think we could unpack everything in 15 minutes? And she rolled her eyes because she knows this about my heart, but I want everything to be a competition and a comparison. How about you? Are you one of those Christians like me who counts? Who's constantly aware of all the numbers? Who knows where you stand when it comes to athletics or academics or social media or sales at your job? If so, let me ask you a question. Is it good to be a competitive Christian? Is competition against the will of our Father in heaven? Well, the biblical answer is this. Competition is not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. It's like a brick. You could take a brick and smash it through someone's window. That'd be a bad thing. Or you could take a brick and build a hospital or an orphanage, which would be a very good thing. The question is not the thing itself, it's what you do with it. And that's what I want to talk to you about in the next few videos. How can competitive Christians use their competition to be a good thing for God and not a bad thing that goes against God? Because you've seen both, right? If you're competitive, I'm guessing you're pretty good at things. You have that inner drive and motivation that wants to exceed and excel, to use all of the gifts that God has put in your heart, your mind, and into your hands for the glory of His name. I've seen that in my life, that God has allowed me to exceed and excel, have some influence. That's a good thing for His kingdom. And the other 94% of the time, it's a really tempting thing, right? That when we don't compare well, we mope and we pout. God blesses us with a 75-degree day and a body that can run around a field, but if you don't play well, you throw away the whole day. You can be sitting in 2,000 square feet of air-conditioned blessing with ice cream waiting for you in the freezer, but when you check social media and the numbers aren't good, you feel like you're not blessed, but cursed. Right? It's a challenge to be competitive. And that's why in the videos to come, I want to talk about all the comparisons that people like us make. We compare our bodies to other people's bodies. We compare our intelligence to other people's intelligence. We compare ourselves on social media. We even compare our faith to the faith of other Christians? How can we resist some of those temptations and use our competition for the glory of God? And we're going to get there in the videos to come, but I want to lay down a foundation with this great passage from the Apostle Paul. In Philippians chapter 4, the Apostle Paul says, "I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation." He says in verse 13, "I can do all this through God who gives me strength." Paul learned the secret of being content, and it wasn't another win, it was just more of him. In these videos, that's what I want to give you. Not tips so that you can outcompete your closest neighbor. I want to give you more of God and convince you that He is infinitely better than any comparison this world has to offer. So, fellow competitor, take a deep breath. You can be content today no matter what the numbers say, because you have God. And God, He is all that you need.
Hey, it's Amber L.B. Swenson. You might remember when my podcast, Little Things, was right here on Grace Talks. Or maybe you've never heard of me. Either way, I want to invite you to listen to Little Things, which is now its own podcast. We take a look at little things and little ways that we can change our thinking to know and love God more. So please check out Little Things wherever you listen to your podcasts.